Good people, what's going on? You guys are watching your favorite podcast, Connecting the Dots. To my right, I have the beautiful Miss Kim. And today we have some really cool topics such as the Detroit school system, which is a terrible situation, Tulsa, Black Wall Street Fund. Third, we'll be talking about killer curves, which is butt injections, plastic surgery. And lastly, LeBron James. And then at the very end, honorable mentions for this whole episode. Yes, ma'am. Yes. So starting off, Detroit schools.
Yeah.
Inform me, Miss Kim.
Man, this really broke my heart because us talking to you about it really isn't going to be enough. So follow us. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Connecting the Dots ATL. We have a Facebook page too. But I posted this because sometimes there's an article or there's a video or some pictures that kind of just illustrate exactly how bad the situation is. So I came across this article about the Detroit school system, and so a few students are actually suing Detroit school system because of the conditions in the Detroit school system. The students argued that the schools were underperforming, and of course, you know, underperforming has different levels, right? I mean, you could be just below state level, you could be low in the country, but the Detroit school system is so bad that a lot of these kids say that they have no heat in the winter, and you know how cold it gets in Detroit.
Wow.
They have no AC in the summer.
It's terrible.
They're overcrowded with students. Some students, one of the students said that he had taken pre-calculus 1 year. The next year, they recommended that he take pre-calculus again, but it's only because there is no other calculus teacher.
So he's pretty much taking the same course over and over.
He's not learning anything.
Wow.
The lawsuit also said that their test scores were low, and that the plaintiffs, oh man, it was a mess. So anyway, the school, like students and their parents got together, and like 5 of them went to sue the school system. And if you look at these pictures, I mean, the schools are like dilapidated. You can check this out. This article is in the New York Times. It's from July 4th last month. This was the first lawsuit on the federal level, so there was nothing for them to like really go by. But at the end, the judge said that literacy was not a constitutional right. That's what the outcome of it was.
Wow.
It's bad because the students are saying they think that we don't care, and it's like they don't care.
Yeah.
So how are they going to get to the bottom of it? I almost cried when I saw the conditions of these schools.
Yeah.
They have books that their history book, U.S. history book, and this one school in particular was from 2004.
I was just about to tell you that we had that when I was in elementary school.
This
I
same
remember
book?
that same textbook. Yeah, I remember that textbook.
So yeah.
2004, yeah. So I was like in the 2nd grade.
So Osborne High School, their history book, had actually the publication of it was 1998.
Wow.
Yeah.
1998. I was born in 97.
So I mean,
that's crazy.
The judge.
That's terrible.
Is, of course, Detroit school system. The ones that are the worst are in what neighborhood? What do you think?
White people try to label it as urban, but we're just gonna say black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Black and Latino. Those are like the top 2 when it comes to that.
Exactly.
That's scary. And it was a fact that I read, and it said that these were the stats provided by the National Assessment of Adult Literacy, and it says that 2/3 of kids who aren't reading well in the 4th grade will end up on welfare or in jail and have a 78% chance of not catching up to their benchmarks.
Oh my God.
And I remember LeBron last week. You remember for his school, it's a 3rd and 4th grade school, and he said that that's all by design because 4th grade, that's the most impactful year. So seeing that you have a 78% chance of not even catching up, that's terrible. And then right here, these are their textbooks from 1998. So all by design is crazy. Crazy.
So Detroit, of course, because after the auto industry collapsed, a lot of people abandoned Detroit altogether. But I think that they need to probably, I don't know, strike. There's not enough teachers to even care to strike.
Speaking on that, Jay Black, we always talk about this when it comes to solutions, especially when it regards black people. So like, what ideas would you possibly have for issues such as that?
At the end of the day, it's gonna really, they're gonna have to pay the teachers. And they gotta start, I think it needs to be more qualifications to becoming a teacher. Because to be a teacher, all you have to do is have a degree.
That's facts.
I can go to school, be an engineer, but I'm not able to find a job, so I can go be a substitute teacher just because I have a degree.
That's real.
So it's like, a lot of teachers might be here just to get a paycheck.
I think that at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the parents. Like, you're going to have to make sure that your children are literate. And one of the constitutional amendments is the right to thrive and support yourself and have access to
pursuit of happiness too.
Voting,
like
have access to education.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Yeah. But I think, we do have to hold the parents accountable. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's a generation.
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
Sometimes school is the only way the children learn basic communication skills.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true.
If you're not literate, you're not gonna vote. If you're not, and voting is what gives you education. You know what I mean? Like, it's a never-ending cycle, and they know this. So this is one of the things. To where, which we probably gonna get into a little later, but what you were talking about, the finances. Yeah. Being financially literate. Like,
that's a whole nother level.
Like, I can say probably up until like 5 years ago, I was financially illiterate. Yeah. Not because I don't know how to make money. I don't know how to.
You didn't know how many other ways there were out
accumulate
there to
wealth.
Make money.
That's the difference.
Making money, but using money, accumulating wealth.
Yep.
Saving.
That's the difference.
You can make a lot of money.
It's about the substance behind it.
But it's about what you're doing with that money. Like.
And I think that the real question is your money making you money? Are you having a passive income? Are you the type that you have to clock in, or I could just say, hey, this weekend I'm gonna go over here to like Bora Bora, but at the same time I'm still bringing in 2 different paychecks, 3 different paychecks. So yeah, most definitely.
So I think what it all boils down to too is just morals. Yeah. And that was another thing we're going to talk about in our next segment, because the person that we're going to talk about particularly stresses that, you know, and that. So back to the school system, because I just can't believe the judge dismissed it. Judge Stephen J. Murphy III said access to literacy, which he also refers to as minimally adequate education, was not a fundamental right.
Crazy.
Remember on one of the episodes in a couple months ago, West Virginia, what was they striking for? Any kind of
the teachers were striking for more money. Okay. The teachers were striking for themselves.
But then you say that they had a bad system as well?
I mean,
the system was bad there because it's West Virginia.
Up in the mountains. Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, when you live in a situation like that, you'll still be able to get a coal mine job. You'll still be able to farm. You'll still be able to do all those things with little to no what we call education.
Yeah, that's facts.
Because you might not ever have to use a computer. Or,
cost of living too. It's completely different.
And then you mostly fund your own. I mean, a lot of those small towns and rural areas use the barter system.
That's facts.
I mean, as much as they vote and they cry and they say they need this, they need that, which they should.
It's simple.
You don't need to, interact with as many people as say we do, because we live in a populated area.
Yeah, highly populated areas. There, it's like in the country, and I mean, I even know from like experience. My grandmother, she was raised on a farm, so seeing how life is just like simple over there. But then if you
Jay Black says that all the time.
Jay Black as well. It's simple.
My dad did.
It's simple. Like, they aren't buying expensive clothes. They aren't buying expensive cars.
That goes back to having
stuff like that.
That's where your morals and your foundations
grow your
come
own
from.
food. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things my dad used to say, you can't eat, you can't drink. Yeah. In one episode, we need to discuss next week. We're going to do this because I thought about this yesterday. What the hell is the FDA doing?
I'm with it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we need to research that and find out more, because it's like, are they even watching?
Of course they are. But I mean, again, and we said this last week, people have to realize that America is literally, no exaggeration, is a corporation. It's ran by business. And lobbyism is that avenue that allows corporations to affect politics. So then that affects the FDA, all that stuff, because everybody needs money. So when you have something that's driven by money, then that's the number one avenue for everything. So yeah, most definitely. And even with this in the school system, these are probably low income communities, but let's say that this is happening in Buckhead. It's not going down like that, because money is power. So as long as we're just disenfranchised, we're always going to face these same issues. So that's why on the next topic with Jay Morrison, like what we were talking about earlier, this is why this is huge with black people investing inside of black banks, a trust fund, because we need our own stuff. And even if we don't have our own stuff per se, we still need our own systems where we're supporting each other financially and every other aspect, because you need money.
That's going to come with us loving each other.
Most definitely.
Loving ourselves.
Yep.
I mean, it's way deeper than just what we see on the surface. It's like we really definitely have to get together as a community. It starts at home with
It
your
does.
family.
It does.
And then it goes to your neighborhood.
Yep.
And then it goes to your city.
Yep.
And then it goes to your state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then it just keeps building up from there, right?
So
Yeah.
I just hope. What do you do? I mean, I guess you really like.
What you just said.
Yeah.
Because all public schools in the inner cities are bad.
Yeah.
They don't care about the education. I mean, it's some teachers that's passionate. I had some teachers that was passionate, but it's a trend across America that all the inner city, the public schools are bad. And
That's
I
all it
had
is.
one of the teachers too, and a lot of these laws have changed recently about special education, behavioral issues with students in class. I had one of my friends who was in education tell me that most of the children that are in special education, they learn just fine. It's just that they have behavioral issues. So you're going to be classified as this person that needs special help because you don't act right.
Umar Johnson talked about that, right? He talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah,
He did. Because he was saying that young black boys, and I remember like growing up in school, I used to get great grades, but in class, I used to be bad. Like my dad used to have to come to the school every day, everything. But at the same time, I would get A's on like all the tests. But it's just that growing up, especially being a black young boy, 9 times out of 10, you want to play football all the time, or you want to play basketball, or if you see like your friends, you just want to hang out with them. So I think that most times white teachers, they don't know how to connect with that. And automatically we're already seen as a threat. So if we come in being aggressive or just being a boy, it's like, oh, he's a problem. So they'll push us out to the principal's office, and then after a while they'll be like, he's a problem, and then they'll take you to the doctor or to the school psychologist.
drugs.
ADD. He has ADD. When 9 times out of 10 you probably don't have ADD.
How do you
see what I'm saying? So
yeah, as a parent,
yeah.
I know none of you know this, but as a parent, it has to be hard now to try to keep your kids to focus on anything.
Yeah.
Because at any time
you got
you're
technology
always
around
giving
you.
them right.
Yeah.
I see people get.
That's what I'm saying. And we're grown. Right. So I think that that's just irrational. Always concluding that somebody has ADD. I get it. Some people actually have it. But black kids, it's at a disproportionate rate. Like, it's ridiculous.
But can you imagine being in Detroit and just like taking it all the way to the level of the federal court, and they're like, oh,
and it's still not working.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, you're not constitutionally entitled to literacy.
Like Detroit,
Yeah.
Michigan in general, like,
Yeah.
didn't the city go bankrupt like a couple years
Yeah,
ago?
well,
Yeah.
the auto industry is what powers that city, right? So when the auto industry shut down, that affected the real estate industry, which affects taxes, which affects the
That
school
pretty much affects
system.
everything.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just like a domino effect of all this stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of people left Detroit, like when the auto industry left, they're like, okay, I'm out. But some people stuck around and they got job to job, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But see, people like this that never have a good access to education, don't go away to college, don't ever take it upon themselves to educate themselves, they get stuck there. But
Yeah.
guess what? They're going to take those auto jobs when they come back. They're going to stay in the city and try to like make it work. And those are the people that the president appeals to.
I'm afraid for him though, because Detroit
How do
is
you
thriving
function?
again.
Yeah.
But I'm just afraid that it's going to be gentrified, where
course.
it's only going to be certain areas that's thriving, and black people won't have access to those areas. So
Well, I
That's my
hope
biggest fear.
Detroit comes together as a community, and it's gonna take for people from every other city,
yeah,
basically, to come together and
takes a
stand
collective.
behind Detroit. It's gonna take a collective
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get into our next segment.
Yeah.
But if you know anybody in Detroit, maybe help them out.
You got to, because like you said earlier, it takes a collective. It takes all of us, and us as a people, like we have to stop this whole like isolation mindset where
Yeah.
I got mine, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Like no, like Atlanta, honestly, we have probably the most money when it comes to black population. So we need to reach out to cities like Detroit and things like that.
Yeah.
And we have to.
Whoever.
We have to.
I think that the people that are from Detroit, what's his name? Isn't one of those new rappers from Detroit that's really popular?
I mean, Big Sean is one.
He contributes a lot to the schools and stuff in Detroit. As
Big
long
Sean
as
is
we
one.
have people that like that bring awareness to it. So if you hear about it, check it out. Follow us on
you.
Instagram, Connecting the Dots ATL.
Yes, ma'am.
And let's discuss it. Let's get it together. All right.